sustenance, and destruction of the manifested universes. He is directly and indirectly conscious of all manifestations. And he is independent because there is no other cause beyond him. It is he only who first imparted the Vedic knowledge unto the heart of Brahmaji, the original living being. By him even the great sages and demigods are placed into illusion, as one is bewildered by the illusory representations of water seen in fire or land seen in water. Only because of him do the material universes appear factual, although they are unreal. I therefore meditate upon him, Lord Shri Krishna, who is eternally existent in the transcendental abode, which is forever free from the illusory representations of the material world. I meditate upon him, for he is the absolute truth. Dharma projita kaitravodra paramo nirmatsaranam satam vedyam vastavamatra vastu Shivadam tapa trayon mulana Srimad Bhagvatam Mahamuni krite Kim va parir ishvaraha Sadyo hridi avarudyate tra Kriti bihi sususubhistakshana. Completely rejecting all religious activities which are materially motivated. This Bhagavata Purana propounds the highest truth, which is understandable by those devotees who are fully pure in heart. The highest truth is reality distinguished from illusion for the welfare of all. Such truth uproots the threefold miseries. This beautiful Bhagavatam, compiled by the great sage Vyasadeva in his maturity, is sufficient in itself for God realization. What is the need of any other scripture? As soon as one attentively and submissively hears the message of Bhagavatam, by this culture of knowledge, the Supreme Lord is established within his heart. Nigama kalpatarur galitam phalam Sukhamukad amrita dravya samyutam Vivata bhagavatam rasamalayam Muhur aho rasika bhuvi bhavakaha. O expert and thoughtful men, relish Srimad Bhagavatam, the mature fruit of the desire tree of Vedic literatures. It emanated from the lips of Sri Sukadeva Goswami. Therefore, this fruit has become even more tasteful, although its nectarian juice was already relishable for all, including liberated souls. Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 10, verse number 3. Nishamya bismoktam atachyutotam pavrita vijnana viduta vibrammaha sasasagam indra ivajitashraya paridupantam anujanu vartitaha. Translation. Maharaj Yudhisthira, after being enlightened by what was spoken by Bhismadeva and Lord Shri Krishna, the infallible, engaged himself in matters of perfect knowledge because all his misgivings were eradicated. Thus he ruled over the earth and seas and was followed by his younger brothers. Purport by Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. The modern English law of primogeniture, or the law of inheritance by the firstborn, was also prevalent in those days when Maharaj Yudhisthira ruled the earth and seas. In those days, the king of Hastinapur, now part of New Delhi, was the emperor of the worlds, including the seas up to the time of Maharaj Parikshit, the grandson of Maharaj Yudhisthira. Maharaj Yudhisthira's younger brothers were acting as his ministers and commanders of the state. And there was full cooperation between the perfectly religious brothers of the king, Maharaj Yudhisthira was the ideal king or representative of Lord Shri Krishna to rule over the kingdom of earth and was comparable to King Indra, the representative ruler of the heavenly planets. The demigods, like Indra, Chandra, Surya, Varuna, and Vayu, are representative kings of different planets of the universe. And similarly, Maharaj Yudhisthira was also one of them, ruling over the kingdom of the earth. Maharaj Yudhisthira was not a typically unenlightened political leader of modern democracy. Maharaj Yudhisthira was instructed by Bhismadeva and the infallible Lord also, and therefore he had full knowledge of everything in perfection. The modern elected executive head of a state is just like a puppet because he has no kingly power, even if he is enlightened like Maharaj Yudhisthira. He cannot do anything out of his own goodwill due to his constitutional position. Therefore, there are so many states over the earth quarreling because of ideological differences or other selfish motives. But a king like Maharaj Yudhisthira had no ideology of his own. He had but to follow the instructions of the infallible Lord and the Lord's representative and the authorized agent, Bhismadeva. It is instructed in the Shastras that one should follow the great authority and infallible Lord without any personal motive and manufactured ideology. Therefore, it was possible for Maharaj Yudhisthira to rule the whole world, including the seas, because the principles were infallible and universally applicable to everyone. The conception of one world state can only be fulfilled if we can follow the infallible authority. An imperfect human being cannot create an ideology acceptable to everyone. Only the perfect and infallible can create a program which is applicable to every place and can be followed by all in the world. It is the person who rules and not the impersonal government. If the person is perfect, the government is perfect. If the person is a fool, the government is a fool's paradise. That is the law of nature. There are so many stories of imperfect kings or executive heads. Therefore, the executive head must be a trained person like Maharaj Yudhisthira, and he must have the full autocratic power to rule over the world. The conception of a world state can take shape only under the regime of a perfect king like Maharaj Yudhisthira. The world was happy in those days because there were kings like Maharaj Yudhisthira to rule over the world. Translation again. Maharaj Yudhisthira, after being enlightened by what was spoken by Bhismadeva and Lord Shri Krishna, the infallible, engaged himself in matters of perfect knowledge because all his misgivings were eradicated. Thus he ruled over the earth and seas and was followed by his younger brothers. Bodha Premanandi Haribol. So here, it's very important when it says, therefore, it is possible for Maharaj Yudhisthira to rule the whole world, including the seas, because the principles were infallible and universally applicable to everyone. The conception of one world state can only be fulfilled if we can follow the infallible authority. An imperfect human being cannot create an ideology acceptable to everyone. Only the perfect and the infallible can create a program which is applicable to every place and can be followed by all in the world. So, this is what Krishna consciousness is. We see that we have temples all over the world, and they're all following the same program. When one gets initiated, they follow the regulative principles and chant Hare Krishna and hear Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagvatam every day and worship the deity, and live in a holy place, and associate with devotees. So there you are. It works in every country. It's working in Mexico, it's working in all the South American countries, it's working in the United States, in Canada, in Australia, in China, in Japan, in India, and Pakistan, and Soviet, or Russia, and Eastern Europe, and Western Europe. It's working everywhere. Africa. So that means, why? Because these instructions are given by the infallible Lord and his devotees, like Narada Muni. So you cannot create an ideology that is applicable everywhere. Only Krishna can do that. And therefore Prabhupada says, an imperfect human being cannot create an ideology acceptable to everyone. Only the perfect and the infallible can create a program which is applicable in every place and can be followed by all in the world. It is the person who rules and not the impersonal government. If the person is perfect, the government is perfect. So there you are. That is our philosophy. And the fact that we have so many temples in the world in all different places and the same program is followed and people make the same spiritual advancement, that means it's perfect and infallible. And if the leaders are seriously following, also sincerely following, then everything goes on very nicely. There's no problem. Therefore, the executive head must be a trained person like Maharaj Yudhisthira, and he must have the full autocratic power to rule over the world. The conception of a world state can take shape only under the regime of a perfect king like Maharaj Yudhisthira. The world was happy in those days because there were kings like Maharaj Yudhisthira to rule over the world. So this is an important purport that shows the faults of democracy and capitalism, socialism, communism. Monarchy is the proper way to manage, but the monarch has to be a pure devotee. He can't be a nonsense. And previously the Brahmins were powerful enough that if they had to kill someone, they could do it easily, simply by saying mantras and get rid of a bad leader and be replaced by a bona fide leader. Just like the whole story of the Ramayana is getting rid of a bad leader like Ravana and replacing him, and being replaced by Lord Ramachandra. And also getting rid of Hiranyakashipu, who was conquered the whole universe, and replacing him with Prahlad Maharaj. So that, and getting rid of I forget the father of Prithu Maharaj, and then replacing him with Prithu Maharaj. So Krishna wants saintly persons to be rulers of the world, not demons and nonsense people. So we have an example how Krishna consciousness works in every country of this world. Therefore, because it's coming from the infallible source, Krishna, and also supported by all the acharyas. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Huh? King Vena. Yeah, okay.